Welcome back to Building on a Budget Models for the second part of our Cobra build. Before we start, I thought I'd say that I did get confirmation back from Revell that this was indeed a rebox of the early 90s AC Cobra 289 model from Academy, but the decals have been changed. Anyway, what I was working on today is a bit more detail of the bodywork. The first thing that I did was painted the hinges for the boot and bonnet, or hood and trunk, as it is an American car, although with British origins. I decided to do these in iron because I thought that it would give a more mechanical look than doing them in the same colour as the body. After a test fit of the rear hinge, it didn't fit quite correctly, so I expanded one of the holes slightly, gave it a test fit, and then superglued it into place. I did the same with the hinge on the front. I like that the boot opens as well as the bonnet. It means that you can add a little bit of extra detail to this car. Unfortunately though, the boot doesn't have the extra corners that the real one did in order to fit a suitcase according to FIA rules. There were small holes in place for the other section of the hinge to go, and after test fitting it, this part fit in very well. I gave it a little open just to test that it worked. With the front, just like the back, I made sure to do this onto a piece of kitchen paper just so that I didn't accidentally scratch any of the paintwork. Then I tested both the front and the back hinge to ensure that I hadn't accidentally glued them shut. They fit quite well. Then I moved on to the decals. I usually start with the largest decals, and in this case it was the white stripe that went across the front of the car. I started by putting some micro set, and then once I peeled the decal into place, I used a cotton bud and some micro sole to give it that painted on look. This needed a little bit of patience as it kept on wanting to pop out of the creases of the bonnet. Metallic emblems on the front and the rear of the car, and then moved on to the number 98 of Ken Miles. These numbers went over some of the panel lines of the door, so I'll cut them with a craft knife later. Again, I used a little bit of micro sole just to make sure that they adhered nicely. Make sure you've got clean hands when touching decals. The other sponsor decals went on really nicely. As I've said before, Cartograph have printed these to a very high quality. Here I cut that panel line using the craft knife. The sponsors are a bit of a tight fit, but they all went on well. After ensuring that the decals had set, I gave it 2 coats of Mr. Super Clear gloss and then left it under a plastic box for 24 hours to make sure that no hair or dust settled upon it. I then used a little bit of Revell aluminium acrylic to highlight some of the buttons and hooks on the bodywork. By doing this after the clear coat, it meant that it could be wiped off with the cotton bud. I then used some Revell semi-gloss black to do some of the grille details. Finally, I went on to doing the panel lines. I had to be quite careful as this can so easily spill, so I always had my cotton bud to hand to make sure to clean up any excess. I also used the panel line in the air vents to give it that little bit more depth. It settled in there very nicely and I didn't need to clear it up at all. And here is the finished bodywork. The other details such as mirrors and the windscreen will be added once the chassis has been installed. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.